Hey guys, welcome to Crowning Judas podcast. My name's Ashley. And before I get started, I really wanted to share that some of the things that I discuss on my podcast could be triggering to some people. So if at any point you need to pause, step away, come back, please do so. Your mental health is incredibly important to me. So if you are new to my podcast, welcome. This really is just kind of a place where I share my journey, the things that I've gone through, and ways that I have found to heal and overcome them while also shedding light on like systemic issues and things like that. So, also, if you're new, the names of the episodes were based off, or I guess are based off of a concept album by Forgive Durden, my kids and my favorite album, Razia's Shadow. But it's it kind of encompasses my journey arc. And so this episode in particular, I was half anxious, half excited to do this episode, I think, because a lot of the things that I've gone through over the last 3 years have to do with decisions made by other people. And so I really just kind of wanted to, I think, do this episode justice, do this episode in a way that glorifies God while also holding situations and circumstances and actions accountable, while also holding myself accountable. And so I've really just kind of been waffling a lot this week. And as I was kind of preparing for this, it hit me that the journey started from conception. And that's kind of part of this episode. The Spider and the Lamps is talking about fire and lamps and spiders and webs. And I wanted to start by breaking that down for you guys, of kind of how I interpreted that. And so my friend has very graciously lent me an oil lamp for this. But let me turn it a little bit. So with this, I wanted to kind of give an illustration of kind of how I thought. So in my mind, God, I call him Dad. So if you hear me call him Dad, that's why. But Dad is the oil. And there's lots of talk in the Bible about how God is the oil and oil to anoint and things like that. Fire is incredibly chaotic, but it's also brilliant and passionate, but it's uncontrollable. But with a lamp, you have the containment. And so, as I'm preparing for this episode, I got to thinking about how, in life with various things with childhood traumas and things like that, we are built to just have this fire inside of us, and God gives us that fire. We have fire with the way that we're brought up, as I mentioned, childhood traumas, and sometimes you have parents that place value on you at a very young age, and their love is transactional and conditional, and you have wounds that are in need of healing for that, and you grow up with bullying in school, and you grow up with assaults and things that happen, and you grow up with all of these various traumas and triggers. If things are constantly happening to you and you have all this fire built up but know where to put it in a constructive way, it ends up in chaos. It ends up in destruction of relationships, destruction of careers, destruction of things that you hold dear. But when you learn to kind of refine that fire and learn to put drive to it, to ambition to it, whether that be anger or sadness or any other kind of emotion, you become a lamp. And a lamp is essentially fire with purpose. It's direction, it's containment. And containment is not suppression. Containment is not stifling or holding something down. A fire, can be chaotic, but when it's contained in the glass, lamp, it can provide guidance, it can provide illumination, it can help guide and inspire people. And that's what God does with refinement when you answer that call. And so, essentially what we're attaining to be is like a lamp. And so I've learned in my own life that my emotions without the containment can cause more harm than good. When you are, upset, when you're in this place of vulnerability, you can lash out emotionally. You can be, angry and kind of spew off without that containment. And that's what I feel like God does with refinement and healing, is He put me on this journey to refine me into being guidance and a light for others, to kind of show them the things that I've been through and how to come out on the other side of that. But without that refinement, I could still be this, emotionally chaotic mess who is just sad and vulnerable, and letting her emotions get the best of her instead of learning from it and putting that to use by trying to, learn how to explain that and express that. And so that's what the refinement process is. It's learning to break down conditions. It's learning to take the things that hurt you and learn from them. Taking childhood traumas and, if you had parents who, didn't know how to be parents or didn't want to be parents, who, would give you the silent treatment or would make their love transactional, you learn how not to parent based off that. You learn that, yelling at your kids is not okay. You learn that if you do get emotional or if you do yell, that you take accountability and you apologize. And so I feel like refinement, excuse me, is learning how to break those conditionings. Refinement is also learning how to speak your truth and how to shine regardless of anyone else's thoughts and opinions about it, without seeking someone's validation. You learn to recognize that you shine on your own. You shine with God. Part of what I've learned is that with God and my healing journey, you shine from the inside out. And so a lot of times that shine, if people are willing to heal, is very attractive. Like, it attracts the things and people that you align with. However, if people are not willing to heal and do the work, it can also be a mirror and show their insecurities, and it can repel them. It can attract people with narcissistic tendencies who see your shine and want to possess it and see it more as, or I guess less as a desire and more of an obsession to possess it, an obsession to control it. And if they can't have it and they can't control it, they will seek to tarnish the way that other people see that light. And so that's what I equate the spiders to, is systems who see someone who speaks the truth and it threatens the image that they try to uphold. It's the people who most of the time are the ones closest to you, who seek to diminish your light because it, affects their demons, and they have jealousy and they have views on you that as an example, not being able to see someone's growth, where every time they come around, all they do is bring up your, past mistakes and your past, wounds and things that need healing, without being able to see that that was a past version of you that no longer exists. The spider aspect is all of these, not necessarily villains, but people who sometimes wish to suppress the light. God is the oil that keeps the fire lit. And so when, God is in you, you shine. And I have written kind of a babble about this, but, when God is in you, you shine. And when you heal, you shine. When you work on things that wounded you or harmed you previously, you start healing from the inside out. And that can be very triggering to some people. It can trigger their insecurities and the things that they're not willing to heal themselves. And so what happens is they will, project that onto you, onto the light that they see. But what also happens is that people will see that shine, and it's kind of like that nursery rhyme with like hiding the light under the bushel. I don't remember the song, but you hide the light under the bushel. I'm gonna let it shine or whatever, and that's essentially what happens. Is people see your light, they see your shine, and they want to possess it. I've said this several times, maybe not so much on here, but on my TikTok, about how there's a fine line between love and hate, and it's obsession, where desire turns into obsession. It turns into wanting to possess something, and hide it away just because they feel like they are entitled to it. They feel like they're entitled to control. They feel like they're entitled to possessing someone or something. And so that essentially is kind of a spider, in my mind, is someone or something, a system maybe, who wants to suppress that light, suppress that shine, who's drawn to it, but equally repelled by it. They are drawn to it because it's pretty, it's nice, it's shiny, it's healing, but they're also repelled by it because it's showing everything that they're unwilling to do. And so what happens is the spider doesn't attack the web, it builds around it. And so with those webs are systems of secrecy, of slander, of defamation, of trying to harm the shine or try and throw dirt on the shine so that other people don't want to see it. So other people don't want it because they think it's theirs. They will, I guess, kind of do everything that they can to build systems and communities around diminishing that shine. But the thing is, when God is for you, that shine's going to happen regardless. You don't need to seek vengeance. You don't need to fight back. You don't need to defend anything that someone is saying or doing against you. The light simply exists. The light simply is there to guide and be authentic and show people another way. And so, because I was nervous about this episode and how I was going to speak on it, and I don't know if any of this is comprehensible, but I opened my Bible, and sometimes what I'll do is, I think it's called bibliomancy, I'm not sure, where you just open your Bible to a random spot and just kind of see if the verse speaks to you. And as it usually does, there was one verse, it is 2 Samuel 22, 26 through 30, that very literally spoke to what I was talking about. But it says, "To the faithful, you show yourself faithful. To those with integrity, you show integrity. To the pure, you show yourself pure. But to the crooked, you show yourself shrewd. You rescue the humble, but your eyes watch the proud and humiliate them. O Lord, you are my lamp. The Lord lights up my darkness. In your strength, I can crush any army. With my God, I can scale any wall." And so to me, it kind of spoke to the oil where, as with an oil lamp, without the oil, the fire disappears. There's no fire, like there's no containment. It just is like a rope or whatever that is in a glass container. The oil is what lights the wick on fire. The oil is what anoints it. And when you answer that call of, God putting something on your heart and you choosing to follow it, no matter what anyone has to say about it, no matter what anyone, thinks about your journey. I'm sure people think I am absolutely insane for the way that my life has ended up over the last 3 years. I went from being married with 2 kids, working a nonprofit, to trying to build up my own consulting work, passion projects, doing this podcast. And it's not anything like what people said I should be doing or wanted me to do or tried to push me into. And the way that I live my life is very it's God led, but not in a preachy way. Because of the fire and the containment and the things that God, or I just call him Dad, has shown me is that um, the way that we are conditioned is not the way that He wants us to live. When you are being refined, you break that conditioning, you break that need to be validated by other people's opinions of you. You break the wounds of, childhood traumas of parents who didn't see your value, who placed a value on you to begin with, who showed conditional love and transactional love. You break that and you see that you were worthy the entire time of unconditional love, and you learn how not to be as a parent. When you are put into work environments or systems that look to diminish you or blacklist you or put you down, um, you shine anyway, and you learn that speaking your truth shouldn't be a punishable offense. If there's nothing to hide, then there's nothing to, I guess, shy away from. I guess, I don't know, the truth doesn't need to be defended. And so I think that as a system, you learn to, I don't know how to word this. I guess just, you learn to look at systems in a way where you can analyze the bigger picture. You can look at, when you're following God, you have discernment, and you have this intuition about you where you can see people's intentions. You can see the bigger picture of things, and you can dissect it in a way that you see patterns. Essentially, that's what webs are, or patterns that people use to diminish people, or to try and steal their shine, I guess. But you're able to dissect that. You're able to see the patterns of how people interact, of the secrecy, of the need to try and turn people away from someone. Because if you're just living your life, being authentic, not bothering anybody, and then there's someone else who has all sorts of negative things to say about this person who's literally just minding their business, having that discernment to look at it and, one, fact check, but also look at, okay, well, who's the person that is doing the most to try and undermine this one person? Has this person said or done anything towards this person at all to warrant that? And so when you have God within you, and when you learn to heal your wounds, learn to, I guess, just learn to be the lamp, learn to be refined and shaped by the way God wants you to be, and break those conditionings of, let's see, how do I word it? When you break the conditioning of how other people think that you should be, or talk, or act, or what profession you should have because it's right or it's just or whatever. When you break all that, you learn that it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what people are saying about you. It doesn't matter about who did what. And I'm learning that, I mentioned last time that vengeance is his, vengeance is Dad's. And the more I kind of surrender and just step back and give it to God, I don't have to do anything. I just have to speak the truth and step back and let God handle the rest, because Dad is a much better receipt keeper than I am, and I have OCD tendencies, and yeah. I have learned that when you allow the fire that you are put through their whole life, whether that's childhood traumas or adolescence or being sexually assaulted or being stalked and harassed and blacklisted and whatever, when you have God, you let that be a refinement more so than gasoline to the fire. I learned that when I have reacted emotionally based off of the situations that I was in, all it did was cause more problems, and all it did was add, gas to the flames, and it makes people more enraged and feeling like they need to act up and doing this and doing that, and it just keeps the cycle going. And I think that's why I've been so excited and anxious about this episode too, is because I get to show that you don't have to become like what hurt you. You don't have to give the spiders names or make them villains in the decisions that they've made. You just have to speak the truth, and you just have to light and be lit and stand firm and give it to God. So, yeah.